Hey, what's up, guys? It's Hector from Que Pasa con la Masa podcast. We have a very, very special guest today. Before we get into that, just want to say, hey, welcome back.
What's up, guys? Lee Boy Savage, and I think today we're gonna ruffle some feathers here.
Hopefully.
Some feathers are gonna get ruffled.
Hopefully. Good or bad, it doesn't matter.
We had already heard about feathers getting ruffled before you even came on.
Something tells me it's my feathers.
Well, no, it's going to be all of our feathers. But I'll make sure you're feeling better than last week. I know last week you were kind of...
I'm feeling a little under the weather today. Not too bad, but just not too bad. I'm good coming off of it. So
I'm glad because you gave it whatever you had to me. So
well, you got to stop trying to get close to me and trying to kiss me, bro.
it's kind of you're the one that does the setup.
You're the one always trying to hold my hand, dude.
There's a lot of bro time between us.
I like it.
As you can tell. But please let our viewers know who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name is Jason Wolff. I think I was brought on here because I'm running for district attorney, running as an independent here in Bexar County. I have my own TikTok channel called The Wolf, and that's how you guys, I think, found me and reached out to me. And any opportunity I can sit down and talk to people and tell them who I am and, you know, be as transparent as I can. And if people don't like me, then, hey, listen, I know there are other candidates out there, and there's some real shit candidates. Can I cuss?
Yeah,
Of
no,
course,
you can cuss
by
all
all
you
means.
want. Okay,
That's
good.
what we have a cuss jar, but don't worry.
Oh, crap.
You're covered today.
We have a bunch of imaginary IOUs in there. We haven't put in there yet.
Well, I'll take it out of the campaign fund,
There
which
you
is
go.
really low right now, so I may owe you guys something.
No,
Don't worry about it. You're good. We got credit with this, so
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I didn't think I would be doing this, to be honest. And I never thought I'd be on TikTok. I had it on my phone, really to kind of keep an eye on my older kids. They're in their 20s, but you still want to keep an eye on them. And I thought, what's one more spy tool on my phone? And kind of left the courthouse about a year and a half ago. Was pissed off at the judge, pissed off at the current DA Joe Gonzalez, and I kind of just expressed myself. And next day I look at it, and it's got 40-something thousand views. So I think, I'm like, wow, if you really kind of come from the truth and it resonates with people, this is an amazing way to get the truth out there.
Yeah.
And didn't think I was going to run for DA until Ron Rangel, good Democrat judge, was going to run. And then he said, I'm going to step away. I'm going to stay on the bench. I think I would never have considered doing this because I would have supported him completely. And on the Democratic ticket, you got 8 candidates now. And a lot of them, well, God help us if a couple of them make it across the finish line. So running as an independent because I think people are tired of both parties. I think we're getting a little sick of the party politics, the party games, the insider game. And I can tell you more about that. My uncle is Nelson Wolff, and longtime county judge here. And so I think I see that machine working. And really, I'm kind of tired of the way we put people in buckets and the way we say, oh, well, I know what's in your heart because you say you're a Republican or because you say you're a Democrat.
Yep.
And really, when it comes down to it, I think this may sound cheesy, guys, but we all want to find somebody to love. We want to be loved. If we have any money left over at the end of the day, we want to go out and be safe out in public and try to enjoy ourselves. And so I think we need to get back to basic, tough on crime law enforcement, still have compassion for somebody that may have screwed up one time and don't foreclose their future. But we just got to stop coming after each other and stop saying, well, my party wants me to say this or do this. And if I do something different or novel, even though I think it might be the right idea, I get attacked within my own party. So I don't want any party affiliation. And that's why I'm running as an independent.
I think that makes it better because with the climate, with everything now, and we've discussed this many times off of camera, but people actually hate each other or their beliefs. I know growing up, politics was politics, but then you'd have a beer or you'd have dinner and you'd be sitting across each other.
Nobody cared, bro. But everything's politicized. Even like the Bad Bunny show at the halftime, politicized. Like it's a concert, bro. Either it's good and you like it or it's bad and you don't like it, But it's just a goddamn concert.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's so many issues to talk about, and they're talking about deciphering language. I'm like, I'm Mexican. I don't even understand half of the shit he said. And a coworker was like, all I heard was eight.
My wife is from Guadalajara, and I looked over her and like, so what does that mean? What did that? She's like, I have no idea what he's saying.
I didn't. Me personally, I didn't like the show. I thought it was kind of boring. They should have had fireworks coming out of the paletero thing and.
You want a heavy metal concert,
bro? I want a show, dude. I want a laser light show.
Next year it's gonna be at SoFi, right?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah,
LA.
it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's gonna be in LA.
Yeah.
They should have Metallica.
This one was in LA, wasn't it?
No, this one was in San Francisco.
San Francisco, yeah.
Oh, okay. It was in California. I knew
Yeah.
that. Okay.
So what? They're next year they're going to SoFi. So I think they get Metallica. Everybody will be quiet. What's up, guys? It's Hector from Que Pasa con la Masa podcast. Just want to give a quick shout out and acknowledgement to all of our proud sponsors. Not in any particular order. Anthony Patterson over at Ron Hoover RV Boat and Accessories in Odessa, Ron Hoover Odessa. Ask for Anthony Patterson or Leo Correa. They will take care of you guys. Also, Eddie's Taco House, Priscilla, Cassandra, and Hector, thank you so much for your unwavering support and believing in our project here at the podcast. Also, we want to thank Joe Gage and the gang over in Laredo at Laredo Ranch Heights. Thank you so much for your support, as well as PDQ Tax Services. As for Caitlin, she will take care of you. Tell her that we sent you over here from the podcast. Also, thank you, Chef Andy at Mi Frijoles. Anybody looking for any type of catering services, just look up on any of the socials. Also, go to our webpage. We have everyone listed there as well. Last but not least, Hunter's Corner, Coach Durbin, thank you so much for your support. Be sure to stop and visit Coach Durbin and Hunter's Corner on the south side off of Quintana Road. Also, Bar 321, Brian and Nicole Garcia, thank you so much for your support. They're off of Main Street, guys. Wonderful bar, great atmosphere, and the place to be to watch any Spurs game. Go Spurs, go. Back to the episode. Thanks for watching.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a badass concert.
I'd root for some Metallica.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they come out in wheelchairs, I don't care. I want to see it.
Some Kiss.
I know. I'm listening. Oh shit, that's even worse.
For real.
But I mean, I think we're aging ourselves with Kiss and Metallica. But yeah, I mean,
I was going to throw out Scorpions, but
oh god, even the way, I mean, they're still rocking.
Are they still doing that?
I saw them in Vegas. I got married out in Vegas 4 years ago, and I think they're in their mid 70s, and they were crushing it down. They weren't running around the stage like they used to.
The Rolling Stones barely hung it up, didn't they? Are they still
No,
going?
they're still
I
going.
think they did recently.
I think they just hung it up, dude. But maybe I'm wrong. But those guys are older than shit.
Yeah, they
Well,
are.
I mean, yeah.
But they're
When
still
you
doing
have
it.
your album cover in black and white, yeah, you're old as shit.
At
They're
some point,
old.
if you do enough drugs and they don't kill you, they actually sustain you.
That's
Oh,
what it
of
seems
course.
like.
Yeah.
It seems like the people that did all the heroin and all that back in the days are like they're like roaches. They just don't
that
die,
was the
man.
good shit back then. That
They don't
was
die,
kind of
dude.
scary.
It's
That's
like
why
the
that-
bad weed that never dies.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they put something in their water because those guys are still going, man.
I don't think they drink water.
I don't know, dude.
But the funny thing is, like, the old rockers, like, you know, the Who, the Rolling Stones, even Paul McCartney, he's still around. He's still going on tour.
Cool.
But you see the 80s rock
Didn't Paul-
bands, and
didn't
they
Paul
look
McCartney
like
die, bro?
shit.
Yeah.
No, Paul McCartney, don't say
Why did I
that.
think he was dead?
No, that was John Lennon.
Oh, okay. No, John Lennon died a long time ago, dude. I thought Paul McCartney.
I to fuck with you. No, he's still alive, though.
Oh, I thought he died, bro.
No, don't. God forbid. No, not Sir Paul.
Maybe it was the divorce I'm thinking about when he got divorced, maybe.
Oh, yeah, that one
It was
hurt.
something.
You know, I think
That one hurt.
Guitar Hero brought so many of these guys back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my nephews, I'm like, who's your favorite band? And he's like, Van Halen.
You're
Van
like,
Halen
what?
gets down.
Yeah.
That's good, but that's good.
Yeah.
Like revival. But when you see them in concert, you're like, oh shit. I went to shit. You're talking about maybe 10 years ago. I went to see True Bill, Earth, Wind and Fire, Van Halen,
Oh, that's a crazy bill.
and
right
I was
there,
like, what? No, but it was a good.
Nice.
It was a great concert. I'm like, well, the best of both worlds. Why not?
Nice.
You know, and David Lee Roth was still doing the high kicks back then. But then he just would talk about his dog and his ranch in Wyoming. And I'm like, dude, play, you know, something. Jamie's crying. Help for teacher. I don't want to care about a dog.
I used to ask people like, okay, so if you could bring any band back or go to any concert and they're not around anymore, who would it be? You know, who would you
Ooh,
go
that's
see?
a hard one.
It's a tough one. But,
Who would you choose?
all right, I know this is a podcast, but I'm gonna own it. Go see the Bee Gees, man.
Oh, the Bee Gees
Oh,
were badass.
yeah,
The Bee Gees were bad.
Yeah,
That was an actual singing group.
yeah, they were awesome.
I think the Doors would have been cool to see if he wouldn't have been drunk, you know what I mean, or all fucked up. Like
Yeah.
if he would have been on his game, the
Yeah.
Doors.
That's a good
Yeah.
answer.
I'm gonna go with Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, very cool.
Or Jimi Hendrix, dude. Jimi Hendrix killed it, bro.
Jimi Hendrix.
That would have been badass.
I mean, it's just you hear about some of these amazing musicians. Like they just came up with the news about Kurt Cobain
What?
that they were saying that it's not actually suicide; it was a homicide now.
Well, there's
After
a bunch of
20 years,
conspiracies
or
that
30 years.
Cool. Is it Courtney Love?
Courtney
Yeah,
Love
well,
had him
that-
killed.
Yeah, I saw all these crazy memes. I'm like, that's messed up.
Is she still alive?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
She's one of those roaches too, bro, that just don't die, dude. For real, dude.
If we're not canceled, we're going to get canceled. But it's okay. It's in orbit. All right, we'll come back.
You do me a favor, put the mic just a little bit closer.
Okay.
You had a little
Yeah, there we go.
Cool.
Now that's the radio voice.
Oh,
I mean, it's funny because
97.6.
you got to practice with your wife. 97.1. En caliente. So how's your Spanish?
It's really hit and miss. I understand more than I can speak. A lot of it, I can, I was telling my dogs, subite. You know,
That's good.
Bájate.
Lárgate, cabrón.
Yeah, don't say that.
No, but I know enough to know when I should start running.
Okay, good. Oh, okay, you're fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you already know they get spicy, bro. They get
Well,
spicy.
listen, this is my second go around. I think I was telling you guys earlier. I told them after I went through my first divorce, I told my mom, I said, listen, Mom, I'm never going to date another white woman again. They come at you from the back. My current wife, if she comes at me, it's from the front. She wants to see me coming.
She's like, please, go ahead.
She's not, bring it.
Have you cut a chancla yet, though, or what?
No comment.
That's right.
No, but I like where you stand as an independent. I think that's badass that you come in from it from that perspective and just no party affiliation really like that. I'm sure you lean a certain way. That's for you to say, but
yeah, no, look, I'm happy to put it out there. If anybody's transparent, it's me, and I want to be that way. I was a judge from 2010, 2018. Ran on a Republican label. I grew up in a Republican household, conservative household. But we were very close with our extended family. My uncle, Jason Wolff, Democrat, longtime Democrat. And we could have conversations back then and civil conversations. And then I didn't think a judge should run under party labels. You're supposed to follow the law.
I always thought that was weird how judges run under parties. Like they're supposed to be non-biased.
Yeah, exactly,
You know what I mean?
exactly. So, they don't have any experience when you're looking at the vote. It's just names and then party designation. I think it's kind of the same, in my opinion, for district attorney. District attorney is the head law enforcement for the county. You're supposed to enforce the law. Some of the candidates that are out there will say, I was called disgusting. Another candidate who had been previously run as a Republican running for a Democrat was called disgusting for having been on a Republican ticket. If you want to run for the legislature and you want to write the laws, it becomes important what your party affiliation is, because there's definitely different ideas out there. But to say I want to be the chief law enforcement for the county and call half the county disgusting for some of their ideas. So I think it sucks. Yeah. And, I kind of reached out when I was thinking about doing this. Didn't think I was going to run. Ron Rangel, as I said, he kind of backed out, and I thought he'd be great. And when I saw the list of candidates and with the experience that I have, I said, I think I need to jump in, and reached out to my uncle and said, hey, any chance you could just sit this one out? I know you can't support me, but can you just let the voters decide? And it took him 8 days, and I finally hit him up again, and he says, hey, I'm gonna support Trey Opportunity. Oh, I call him Trey Opportunity Fisher.
That's a good last name if that's his last name.
Yeah.
That's a badass name.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah. And so I said, and he goes, I'm gonna support him. He's a good friend. And look, we're a close family. I was just at his 85th birthday party, and he said, I couldn't believe you did as well as you did going to Austin, commuting with a family, and and now he's backing Luz Elena. I refer to her as Luz Elena Chaffa instead of Chapa. But he's supporting her, and this is really the party has gotten behind her. The Sheriff's Association, SAPD, have endorsed her. I know that I knocked it out of the park with those interviews. I know that a lot of the other Democratic candidates who've been prosecutors, who have a lot of experience, they thought they would get it. I thought they would get it if I didn't. But for them to support a candidate who has never, ever been a prosecutor, has never tried a case, has sat on the Fourth Court of Appeals, which is, that's like a teacher having the answers to the test. You don't call the balls and strikes while they're coming at you. But it just shows me, and he's supporting her, and it just shows me, man, the party, there is a machine, and it will try to, chew you up and spit you out. And it doesn't really give the people that want to pay attention a chance to recognize who the real candidates are.
Oh, yeah, it's a dirty game. Politics is dirty, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's ugly.
I have a true story about your uncle. Back in '91, he did a speech at our assembly, and I was asked to bring him on.
Okay.
So I went up there and, of course, got a rousing applause and standing ovation from all the student section.
Were you ripping off your shirt? And
No, I couldn't. I had to cut it short because I was introducing.
If you let this guy tell a story, he'll tell it to the extreme.
No, there was fireworks or Bad Bunny. No, there was nothing like that. It was a student assembly, so it was civil.
All right.
But I introduced your uncle, and it was kind of like. So he comes up, he goes, hey, have you ever thought about running for office? Look me up. And I go, no, thank you, but hey, have fun. And I'm like, all right, guys, see y'all later. And then he's all like, well, I got to follow that guy.
I'm not sure how much more applause he gets over the last 30 years, 20 years.
So that's why I was like, when you said he was your uncle, I'm like, oh, I remember that. I remember that, man.
And look, I love my uncle. I do. We're a close family, and I love him. And, I understand that he is a politician. But I think people are so tired of that shit, man. I think they're so tired that if there's ever a time an independent's going to win, it can be now. And I have to wait till after the March 3rd primaries, which are coming up, and I have to get 500 signatures from people who did not vote in the primary so that I can be on that November ballot. I've got a lot of support going on, but if somebody wants to support me, if they like what they hear, then I'm going to need those signatures after the primaries. But it's going to be interesting. I think the last independent that at least I know of was Jesse Ventura. You guys remember the
I remember
wrestler
Jesse
that won
Ventura.
Minnesota? I mean, he had a lot of name recognition, and it was a one in a it's a long shot.
He wasn't too bad of a was he governor or mayor?
Yeah, I think he was governor of Minnesota.
He wasn't too bad of a governor.
Yeah, I think
from what
he did
I remember.
well.
Yeah. But I think we're all looking for somebody to buck the system. Like it's the machine, like you say, the machine just gobbles everything up, and we want somebody that fight for the people. You know what I mean?
Well, I tell you, I left the DA's office. I had 2 years left to retirement, but I left not to go seek more money. I left because I was just so. Look, you call one elected official a pussy and not that smart. It's all the media wants to talk about. But you want to talk about somebody that's going to fight, that's going to stand up. That's what I did with Joe Gonzalez, and I called him out on TikTok, and that's not it's a scary thing to do. But you got to have people that are willing to talk against the power and say, look, wake up, let's see who's in charge. And they're not doing the job they need to. They're more concerned about what the media is going to say than doing the right thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's I think everybody's too concerned to get hit by the media, because the media has a lot of power if you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They could tear you down or build you up, and they choose who they want to build up and tear down. You know what I mean?
I was outside KSAT News, and called them KSAD News.
Oh,
but it's weird, and you bring it up with media. I mean, they have the same script.
They do.
You go through channels, and it's like shit. It's like deja vu or Groundhog's Day. You're like, okay, let me get something else, and it's the same talking point, same verbatim, going back and forth. So, excuse me, you being an independent, it's like kind of like unplugging and plugging the computer back in. I think that's what the city needs.
That's a good way of putting it. I sure hope so. And I had people come to me and say, Jason, run as a Democrat, you'll win. And that's the Democrat is likely to come out of this race because there are more Democrats in Bexar County than there are Republicans. They tend to show up more, but that's not who I am. I have a lot of different ideas that lean both ways. We can talk about that, but I think it's just playing the system again, and it's not being genuine with where you really are. And for me, I'm like, look, I'm not going to just do a 180 because it's in my own self-interest. Yeah. So I think that's why I didn't do that.
So it's being a typical politician.
Exactly.
Going that route, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And this is what I'm fighting against.
Yeah. Well, one thing you did say off camera is you were a defense attorney and a DA.
Yeah.
So I like that because you've been on both sides of it. So
yeah,
that I find that pretty cool and something that's needed.
Well, thanks. Just quickly, I started out at the DA's office. I was a prosecutor for 6 years, and then I was elected judge here in Bexar County, County Court at Law Number 2, handled misdemeanors, so DWIs and seconds and assaults, and also did civil stuff, and did that for 8 years. And then went back to the DA's office in 2018, worked with Joe for 4 years. So I was felony first year. I handled the murders, the capital murders. Now defense work. Over the course of my career, I've had over 250 jury trials. So I don't know that anybody can kind of match that kind of experience, but it does give me a unique perspective. And, for some of these candidates who, Luce, who says I can just manage that office and it's just an administrative gig is a ridiculous statement. If you want the troops to follow you, because you need the troops, man, and it's a team, you need to have been in the trenches before. And so getting somebody that's going to hit the ground running is really important. And, I want to give these prosecutors that have the training their discretion back. I don't want them to be afraid to do what they think is the right thing to do. And I'll handle the media for you. And I don't care what the media says. And I want to repair the relationship with our law enforcement. I want to give discretion back to the law enforcement. I want them to be able to step out of their car and do what they think is the right thing to do, or make an arrest, or let somebody go that they think, look, there's not enough here. There isn't the evidence here. I don't want, let them go without the blowback.
Or they have some compassion for the person.
Exactly.
And they understand. Yeah. I think it's a no-win situation now for law enforcement.
It is.
Like
you basically have your hands tied.
There's too much liability too. If you make the wrong move, dude, that's your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the media runs away with it. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, look at the 4 officers that were charged, right? Charged with murder, manslaughter. The jury came back in an hour and a half. They'd gone to lunch during that time, right? So that is imagine coming back that quickly with that verdict. should have told law enforcement on the front end, hey, let's slow down at the very beginning. I think they made arrests very quickly that night. But to do the right investigation, and then if evidence isn't there, knowing what happened and proving what happened are two very different things.
Oh, of course.
And I will tell you, there's bad officers out there, and there's also innocent people out there, too.
Oh, yeah.
So having the experience to know when to move forward, because you're just wasting your resources when you could be out there protecting victims and spending more time on the cases and more resources on victims, you know?
I think right now what also is happening is that people are like, well, hold them accountable. But, hey, there's a lack of police officers patrolling. I mean, pick your poison.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the shortage is, but it's pretty significant in the openings. Same with the DA's office. At one point, over 100 prosecutors left that office.
Wow.
And I see these prosecutors that still live in San Antonio, but they're working in the surrounding counties, not because they went to go chase more money, but because they were overworked, not supported, disheartened, and they said, screw it, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
Because you get burnout after a while, and anything you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but if you stay with an open mind, you know, and a clear conscience, and you know what's right at the end of the day, it'll guide you through it.
But if you're constantly being beat down, dude, that's another story.
Of course, it's a syndrome. It's like battered syndrome. Like
battered prosecutor syndrome.
Exactly. You know, it's one of those things where you're like, and what can I do? What should I do? You know, and you got to have that real deep conversation with yourself and your peers. And either you put yourself out there or you don't. Kind of like what we did. We went out on just a whim and said, let's do this podcast.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we've had the support that we've had so far. Next, like I was telling you earlier, next month will be a year.
Awesome.
We're excited. We're happy where we're trending and where we're going. And then we have great guests like yourself.
Well, thanks, man. It's my pleasure to be here.
And if you do get elected DA, right, we got your personal number. So
that's right.
If we ever get in trouble, we're calling.
I did not say that.
I'm saying it.
You get a text back. Who dis?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can get his number later. Oh, he'll get yours either way. It's gonna come in handy. But yeah, I mean, it's we're talking about politics and about ICE is at the forefront.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring it up right now is because I went to go make a deposit and I see this group of kids just trailing down Flores, passing by the cathedral, and I'm like, are they? Yeah, they are. So they were a group of protesters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what school they were from, downtown, but they were there, and I mean, it was cool watching them do that because they're so young.
Yeah.
But the thing I don't understand is sometimes they just do it to go with the crowd. They don't really know the meaning of it or why they're doing it. They just, oh, it's cool. I want to be cool.
You know, I think that's part of it. I too thought it was cool from the perspective that, okay, you're going to be part of the process. You're going to make your voice known. Whichever side you fall on, I support, the First Amendment right, support the peaceable assembly. But I think a lot of kids may have got caught up in that because they didn't want to have a contrary opinion. And doing it through the school system, I'm not so sure that schools should be, okay, we're going to let you out early for this.
Yeah, I don't think that belongs in the school.
I don't think it does
honestly,
either.
I don't think the schools did that. They just walked out.
No, but you have a lot of the teachers and the administrators like kind of pushing it too.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's their place to do it. You know what I mean?
Well, of course. I mean, but the fact that they did it and went through with it, knowing the repercussions, like they still did it, that's to me is cool.
No, the fact that they're taking interest in the process, you know what I mean, is cool. I just think everything's getting escalated right now. Like the protests are getting in the face of ICE, and it's escalating stuff. And you have the ICE escalating because they're afraid too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just escalating the whole thing.
You're right, and look, it's a topic that's made its way into the DA's race. Quite frankly, the DA is state jurisdiction, state oriented. If federal officer acting in the scope of their employment oversteps that bound, and I think we can make real arguments that a lot of these people have, then that's Department of Justice can come after these guys. And it's really not a state jurisdiction issue, but you've got Shannon Locke out there saying he's going to investigate Trump, he's going to investigate ICE, he's going to investigate the governor. And do I support law enforcement? Well, absolutely I do, whether it's ICE or SAPD or Bexar County Sheriff's Officer, but I support law enforcement. And, I've said before that if you break a law or you violate a law, don't be surprised if later on law enforcement catches up with you. Do I agree with the enforcement, the way that's enforced? No, not really. I think we can take a breath. Anytime a kid is in a cage for no reason of their own, I think we can do better than that for sure. But defunding law enforcement is not something that I can get behind. And I think candidate like Shannon Locke is taking advantage of emotion and saying, look, I'll take this case and I'll investigate and the supremacy clause takes place, and it's the separation of state and federal law, and that if he were to be successful in that, he'd take it out to federal court. But even more important that, my God, we've got how many murders take place in Bexar County? How many times are women raped? How many robberies, ag robberies take place? That's where our focus needs to be. It needs to be the focus on not just state, but Bexar County. Bexar County that's where our focus needs to be. And these investigators that are inside the DA's office that he says he's going to use, and yes, they have investigative authority, but really that authority is meant to, hey, okay, we are the enforcement branch. We're not the investigative branch. So these investigators that work for the DA's office can say, hey, I need this background check, or I need this criminal history, or hey, detective, can you go out there and get this additional evidence for us, so that we build stronger cases, and we are successful in those cases, and we don't leave victims hanging dry. So it's an emotional time, and I get it, but we need to remember what's important. What's important is what's going on here in Bexar County.
Yeah.
I think that people lose sight of it and they get caught up in it,
Sure.
And a lot of times that, San Antonio being a majority Hispanic, culture, there's a lot of, give and take. Like my dad, for example, he's a resident alien and he's terrified to leave the house. And I'm like, dude, you're good. He goes, I had a DWI. I'm like, in 1980.
Yeah.
Like, you're good.
Yeah, that fear is terrible. I've told you guys, my wife is from Guadalajara, Mexico. We've been going through that process. She's for 4 years, it's cost a lot of money. It's cost us a lot of money going on interviews. Like, do you really love her? And I'm like, look at her, bro. Come
Look
on.
at me. I'm taking my last name.
Like, if she's playing me, that's okay.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I'm fine with that.
Here's my second one. I know what I'm doing. Let's keep it going.
But it's and I'm okay going through that process. And I think when you jump the line and you get in front of others that have done it the right way, I think that's an offense to the people that have done it the right way. So it's a touchy issue, and it's personal for me. Yeah, it's personal for me. But we're at the point now where she's eligible for citizenship, and we're really excited about that.
Oh man, congratulations!
Thank you.
Yeah, the immigration thing is a big touchy issue, man. There's so much emotions in it.
Yeah,
and I get it, but if you look like logically, it's it comes to a financial thing, because having open borders and everything is a strain on resources, strain on everything. So it's like, if you have personal ties to it, I understand where the emotions are coming from. But if you look at it from logical and policy issue, it's you kind of have to see both sides of it.
And the Republicans and Democrats for 30 years have had more than enough time to get their shit together to fix this. I don't think, I think there is a happy medium there. I think even with Obama and DACA and saying, hey, look, you've been here, you've been productive, you've been paying taxes, you've been working. Let's find a way for you to stay here. Let's find a way for you to make amends for that, however that is. But the people that were on either side, that are in control, that want to change it, when they step out of line, the party comes in and either puts somebody up against them in a primary or beats them back down. And this is both sides. Yeah. Both sides have had an opportunity to fix it.
It's been convenient not to fix it.
Honestly,
that's the thing. They get to both use it as a political issue.
Yeah,
I worked in the service industry, and a lot of companies that I worked for, they would hire knowingly, people that had crooked papers or a social that was off by one number or whatever, and they would circumvent the I-9.
Yeah.
And the reason I think that it hasn't gotten repaired, because companies are like, hey, it's cheap labor, because if they actually were applying with the social, that's more money we have to put into it. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So it's the caveat is, it's damn if you do, damn if you don't.
It's also for the census too, because they get districts get to report more voters. So they get more money, they get more representation in the White House, not the White House, but the Congress, everything. So both sides use it as a political issue.
Yeah,
they don't want, and I think the DACA kids, man, they grew up here. They're American. They're more American than they are Mexican.
No, I agree.
And
I agree.
I think the first thing that needs to get done is fix stuff for the DACA people.
Yeah, and it would be better if this administration and Trump would be like sticking to what they told us. That is, we are only getting the criminals out of here, the dangerous ones. And look, been a lot of bad people that crossed our borders that went unfettered, unchecked. We've had women murdered and killed, and kids killed, and drunk drivers killing people that should have never happened had we done a better job on that. But I think it's time to take the heat down a little bit, take a breath.
Yeah.
I'd like to see local law enforcement assisting, and And for the very reason that these officers walk our streets, they're in our neighborhoods, they can be at least, maybe people would disagree, but I think they can be a voice of reason. Like, hey, ICE guys, let me handle this, or let's think about this kind of approach, rather than just saying no, we're not going to cooperate with you. I think that sends a bad message.
A bad message on both ends, because they can, like you say, they can be a buffer. Because like, hey, this is my. It's kind of like what I do with work. A lot of problem with selling products I deal with a lot of food in grocery stores. And it never fails. I'll see a meat market manager, and like, man, these new guys that are coming in that are store leaders, they're all about analytics, and it's like, I know what my customer's buying. I know what they want. I'm going to bring what they want, not what you want. So I think that's the same thing with law enforcement, because you have ICE doing their job. There's no denying that they have a job to do.
Well, ICE is not from the community either.
No,
so
exactly.
From outside,
so they're coming with a blank stare, like, okay, it's a blank canvas. Let's paint it up the way we're supposed to do it, as they're trained, supposedly.
But I think the cities have to work with ICE too. Let them go into the jails and get the people out of the jails and stuff like that.
And I'm down with that. Like, I think that they should, those detainers. Go ahead.
But that's where we're seeing a bunch of the issues is in the sanctuary cities, where they're not cooperating and working together. I think that's
it's a lot easier, a lot less volatile if you can come into the jail system where it's secure and say, hey, look, and of course they better have the basis to do it, right? And then when they are out on the street, they need reasonable suspicion. You got to have articulable facts that a reasonable officer in the same situation would tend to believe. I think maybe this person shouldn't be here, or is here illegally. You can't just do a shotgun approach.
Yeah. Because I mean, even in the last cycle, the first term, with my dear friend DJT, they were racially profiling a lot of people, and I mean the way they were going about it, and it was of course red states, but they go after the painter vans or the construction vehicles or the landscaping. And they're like, okay, those guys they don't have papers, and they would go intimidate them. A lot of times they didn't even understand what was going on. Like, well, we're picking you up. Yeah. And then they were like, oh, here you go. So it's kind of like, here you go, easy transfer, easy pickup. And then it's like, you're making such a bigger damage than you think you are. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the problem, that it's causing so much chaos. And believe it or not, if they actually were going after the bad people, there'd be a lot of ICE agents and law enforcement agents getting shot up. Well, or worse.
I think
good point.
I think the media, dude, is stirring the pot quite a bit, bro. Like, the same stuff was going on under Obama, but you didn't hear a peep about it, dude. You heard absolutely nothing. And now it's like the forefront. That's all they talk about. You know what I mean?
I think at one point he deported more people than any president.
Yeah, and the cages and everything. He's the one who built the cages. Yeah. But you didn't hear about none of that stuff. So I think the media likes stirring up the pot. You know what I mean? When it's beneficiary to them.
For sure.
Well, I think I mean, it's like social platforms.
Yeah.
Social media platforms. The more engagement you get, you monetize off people's emotions, and you could just say, hey, you know what? I woke up today and guess what I saw? And then bam, it's like 500 comments. I hate you and your mama's this. And it's like, that is the dumbest shit ever.
Negativity sells, bro.
Of course.
Negativity.
What was the other one that you said?
Which one?
Negativity and,
it's sex and negativity, bro. Yeah. That's what sells.
Unfortunately,
that's what sells.
That's true.
I mean? No, controversial.
Well, controversy is negative. It's negative, bro.
Exactly. That's why I was like, well, we're not going to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's like immigration's been going on since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, when I lived in the Valley, in McAllen, I had a lot of Border Patrol friends. I even had classmates that were in Border Patrol, coworkers that went to Border Patrol. And some of the stuff that they would tell me scared the shit out of me back in 1997, 99. And I was like, are you serious? Like, oh yeah. He goes, imagine the shit I can't tell you. And I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, I see some fucked
up
shit.
But the thing that I would always tell people, the sad part is any illegal that's brown is Mexican. And that's not true.
Yeah.
The way they sort it out is they label them as OTMs, other than Mexican. So if you're a Mexican nationality, of course they ship you right back across the bridge and you're on your own. If you're Brazilian, Argentinian, Chilean, Venezuelan, unless you're applying for asylum, Nicaragua, Honduras, any other country, unless you're applying for asylum, they'll label you as OTM. And I promise you, people can go back and fact check this, but they would give them a bus pass or airline ticket. Say, go to your nearest relative. This is the date of your immigration court in Houston. Do not miss it.
Wow.
See you later. And I would see immigration vans dumping people off at the bus stops. dumping them up at the airport. And people are like, I didn't know that. I'm like, neither did I until I saw it. I heard it. I'm like, so that's what OTM means, other than Mexican. Because obviously back then, which was 90 something, who was Bush?
Yeah.
Bush, yeah. To the Twin Towers. It was Bush. It was all about, they're not going to fly people to Nicaragua or Honduras. They're just like, okay, well, then you figure it out. And then we'll put a retainer. And if you don't appear in court, then you have a warrant and we'll go get you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but then, even then, they had this kind of like a rescue where they would say, we're going to put a monitor on you and we'll make sure that you make it to court, but you'll be our client. It's just mind boggling. Like, all this exists and people don't know about it or are aware of it unless they see it or hear about it. I actually applied for a job once doing that.
Oh, no way, dude, really?
And I was going to be stationed in Arizona. I'm like, hell no. I couldn't stand Laredo, much less Scottsdale or Phoenix. It's too hot over there. But doing stuff like that, where I'm not a bounty hunter, but I'm finding clients and putting an ankle monitor on them and saying, hey, you have to be here. Like, we're your bail bondsman. We're responsible for you. I was like, I can't do that. I couldn't make myself think of, like, every morning when I wake up, I'm not. Yeah. You know, but that's the thing, that there's so many opportunities that fixed it. And it's so just like, it's ongoing. And I tell people the border is the quickest way, talking point, because it's so close to us.
Yeah.
But they don't understand the East Coast and the West Coast, it's water. Containers come in full of people. Canadian, you walk across the you know what I mean?
Speaking of problems, I'm gonna get away from the immigration stuff a little bit. Speaking of problems, what is a thing that you could do and change in the city that'll solve some issues that you see going on here?
I think kind of starting with communication, getting, again, discretion back. I think we need to get open door policy to have the members of the community be able to come in and feel like they can come into the DA's office and not have a phone call or an email, that they can see a face and they can talk to a human being, and, you know, be told, hey, look, if this case was dismissed, here's why it was dismissed, you know, or going forward, these are the issues that we're going to have. Again, you know, thank God we live under the Constitution. The Constitution says you are presumed innocent until you're guilty. And, you know, we've got to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. I think there are a lot of cases that sit over at the DA's office now. As a defense attorney, I can tell you there are a lot of innocent people that are being charged. And a lot of, for instance, these family violence cases are being used in divorce proceedings. They're used to try to get an advantage. And even when you bring affidavits and you bring the best evidence to the DA, they hang on to that. They hang on to it to the very end, and then they offer you a sweetheart deal, and you're like, no, I'm not taking that. I want my jury trial, and then they hand you a dismissal. And we're talking over a year and a half, sometimes 2 years. So they're wasting resources. It creates a backlog. You have to have the backbone to say, look, and, you know, a lot of these family violence cases are people where the neighbor calls, right? And, you know, they're
mad.
They're a little drunk, and by the way, there's such thing called mutual combat. We just had that with the Super Bowl. Okay,
how does that work? The mutual combat thing.
So, like you and I, if you get pissed off at me right now and say, "Let's step outside," I'm like, "All right, let's go, bro." And then we go at it. And you know, if you take me out and I call the cops, that was mutual combat. I can't be later on like, well, he kicked my ass.
So say there's cops standing outside and we go outside and fight in front of them in mutual combat. Do they arrest us? Do they break it up? How does that work?
We're probably gonna get arrested.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna wait, and then
we're gonna get arrested.
So they won't respect the mutual combat thing right there. Then
maybe if we have boxing gloves on, they'll watch. Okay. But
that's an idea.
I was curious how that worked. I always heard about them. Like, what if the cops are right there?
It works. And look, these people will get arrested, and they're going to arrest somebody. Cops have not given discretion anymore. Even when you say, you know, predominantly the males are getting arrested and the females are the victims. And even when the wife or the girlfriend is saying, look, we're fine, it's no big deal. And these are misdemeanor assaults, right? All it takes is, ow, that hurt. We're not talking broken bones, broken nose, stuff like that. And they say, look, we're fine, go away. Somebody gets arrested. And then you get an affidavit and they say, look, I don't want to pursue this. And I present that to the prosecutor. And they're like, well, we don't care. We don't actually represent the victim. We represent the state of Texas. So just quickly, I went into misdemeanor family violence court. There were only 16% of the cases that actually been filed with a file that was presented to the judge. Judge doesn't have jurisdiction until that case gets filed. And it's so simple to file a misdemeanor. You just take the police report, you put it in information in a complaint, judge signs off on it. can you imagine that 100%, only 16% have been filed? These other individuals are coming to court month after month after month. They are on bond. They are missing work. They're getting fired. Some of them want to say, hey, look, I want to take acknowledgement for what I did. Some of them say, I want my jury trial. But you don't even get to start making that argument until it's filed.
So who's dropping the ball on that?
Well, look, I think it's Joe, the head of the Family Violence Division, is Melly Carolyn Powers. She's running for DA. Melly is, I think her heart is in the right place. She has the experience. She's been a lifelong prosecutor, but she's the chief of that division, and I've called her out on that. I said, there is no excuse. When I was a judge, there would be maybe out of 100 people on the docket, there would be maybe 2 cases that were still pending filed. Now, when you have 84%, it's just inexcusable. So I don't know why we would promote from within the office in that instance if the office has already been run into the ground.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think that a reboot's needed. You know,
I agree.
And I really respect when you bring it to light, because there's a lot. I mean, people, honestly, to be honest,
we don't know this stuff.
We don't know this stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Judge Rosie Speedling Gonzalez was recently indicted, and I've been calling her out for months. And, you know, I have rules of professional conduct. I certainly can't say anything that I know not to be true. But even when I'm out there telling people what I believe to be true, not my truth, but the truth, it's dangerous. You know, These people in power, you don't know who they know.
And I mean, I think as a whole, it's just gotten to that climate. You know, where it doesn't affect the person that's saying it. It just affects the person and their surrounding, their circle. You know, and it's like you're guilty by association.
Well, whistleblowers don't get no love, dude. Anytime anybody whistleblows on stuff they see, seems like they end up getting punished for it.
Well, snitches get stitches.
God keep me protected.
Snitches get stitches.
How true is that in your field? Like you've heard that before?
What, where you start telling the truth and people come after you for it? Well, God, I hope not, because you know I say my prayers every day, every morning, saying, you know, keep me protected, and as long as I keep telling the truth, and that's what I hope prevails. And look, 90% plus. Beyond that, our judges, our prosecutors, our police officers, they're coming from the right place. They really are. But like any profession, you're going to have rogues out there. And judges, you're going to get a couple of them that when they put on the robe, that ego takes over, and they run with it.
I can see that. I can see the power they have. It probably gets to the head after a while. You know what I mean?
You see it. It's a real thing.
Now, I'm sorry. With judges, how long is their term limit? Is it
4 years?
4 years.
4 years. Yeah. So every 4 years they're up.
What would you consider a successful judge?
I think a judge who is probably the most restrained person in the courtroom, the most polite, knows the law, follows the law. You know, they did a survey. They used to, SACLA, which is the San Antonio Criminal Defense Lawyers Association, did a survey, and they had, hey, answer whether or not the judge shows up on time, that the judge works hard, the judge knows the law, that the judge follows the law, and finally, how is their temperament? And, you know, out of 60 judges, only a year on the bench, I was number 1 among all the criminal county court at large judges. I was number 10 across the board, because it wasn't my place to be the loudest person in the courtroom. I had overwhelming amount of power, and you don't need to be out there, hey, look at my power, look at my power. You need to be the most reserved, the most knowledgeable. So that's important. That's what a judge should be. You know?
You know what? I got a question. Say I'm going to trial for a criminal charge. You're my defense attorney, or you're the DA. You know the judge, you know the defense attorney. You guys all know each other, and you guys are on friendly terms. How does that work out for me?
You know, relationships matter for sure. And, you know, I tell people, hey, look, I know that prosecutor, or I know that judge, and but I never promise anybody any special favors, and I've never seen any like, hey, slip me this much money here, and this case goes away. I've had clients be like, come on, man, pull some strings. I'm like, man, I don't have any strings.
See, I'm not talking about money. I'm saying, like, say you think I'm innocent, you're my defense attorney, and you feel I'm innocent, and you have a relationship. You go to bat with, obviously you go to bat for your client, but does having the relationship with the judge and the DA help in that?
I think it helps if you've maintained credibility over the course of your career, if you've treated people the right way. Because, you know, I went from being a judge to the next day, like, asking for an offer from the prosecutor that was in my court. And had I been a jerk to that prosecutor, that would affect my client's outcome. Yeah. But yeah, it makes a difference, because they at least listen to you. They're like, okay, let me consider this. And a good defense attorney shouldn't be hiding the ball, man. They should be out there like, hey, here's what sucks about your case, and you need to listen to me. Yeah, that's the first piece of advice I would give these young prosecutors is not all these defense attorneys are full of crap, man. They are actually here trying to tell you what's wrong with your case and why you shouldn't move forward.
Sometimes I get the impression that prosecutors, a lot of times it's a numbers game for them. Like, I could be wrong, but sometimes it seems like they don't see the person they're prosecuting as a person. It's just a number, just another case.
Yeah, I think that happens. I always, and as a prosecutor, you can't go talk to the defendant unless the judge brings him up and says, okay, you realize that a prosecutor is not here for you. And so I didn't get a lot of opportunities to talk to the defendant. Being on the defense side now is just really broadened my experience, and I've grown so much more from it because they're human beings. Yeah. And it is absolutely easy for a prosecutor to just be like, hey, man, this is just another file.
Well, they're seeing hundreds of them a week, you know what I mean? So it's just like,
yeah, they're trying to do the right thing, but you try to paint a picture of, hey, listen, here's what's really going on, and you got to get in there quick. You got to pick your spots, and that's how the sausage is made.
I'm sure that they get desensitized too to everything, right?
They do, and you see a lot of. I mean, I've got images and videos and photographs in my brain that will never go away.
Oh, I don't want to see them.
But I also got good stories too. Like, okay, so one time this guy's charged. I was a prosecutor. Guy was charged with aggravated robbery. He jumps out on the Riverwalk to this couple. He's got a machete and he waves it in this woman's face. Says, "Give me your money. Give me your money." He gets arrested with the machete. Great case for the state. Defense attorney comes in and says, "What's your offer?" I said, "Well, look, your guy's been to prison before. This is pretty scary. I'll do 18 years." And he says, "All right, let me go talk to my guy." Comes back, says, "No, you got it all wrong. See, my guy doesn't speak very good English. He was just trying to sell her the machete. Give me your money, give me your money." And I thought that was so funny. That's I said, hilarious. "I tell you what, you know what? I don't buy it for a second, but that's so good. He can have 15 years today." And the guy that didn't speak any English goes, "I'll take it."
That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah. I would have been like, that joke sucked, so I'm going to give him 20.
That's hilarious.
So let me ask you this. How hard is the bar?
If you put the effort in, I passed it on the first time. Maybe there's this test anxiety, and I think that probably exists. But if you really put the effort in, I think you should be able to pass that bar. The judge that took me out, I think it took her 4 times to pass the bar and only tried 2 cases. So that's why we should not pay attention to just party only. Yeah. I think you should put God before person and person before party.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Kim Kardashian hasn't passed the bar yet, right?
No.
I'm just going to refrain from saying what I want to say.
I had to bring it up, bro.
I know why you brought it up, but I'm going to refrain from saying anything with it. Is there a memorable case that you were a part of?
Yeah, I think probably the more memorables are the ones that I dismissed as a prosecutor. There was a young African-American girl who was a nursing student, I think at UTSA. I had just got put into the court. They switch you around a lot of times. Put into the court, and the defense attorney comes up, was ready to take a 5-year deferred adjudication. She was charged with aggravated assault on a police officer. She was charged with evading in a vehicle. And I kind of just looked at it and I said, this doesn't seem right. She was sitting in the back and sitting with her father, and said, something doesn't feel right here, and asked the judge for time. And so I looked further into the case, looked at the video. I brought in the police officer, and he was the most racist piece of shit. It was this white guy. And the facts were, he's like, well, I was watching, and I saw her go through the crosswalk in her car, and there were people in the crosswalk. So I walked over to her vehicle and banged on the trunk for her to pull over. And instead of pulling over in this space, she went 5 extra spaces and pulled over in this space. And then when he was up there yelling at her, his foot was under the front tire, and she was so afraid that she rolled up onto his foot. And he charged her with evading in a vehicle, 3rd-degree felony, aggravated assault on a police officer, 1st-degree felony. And this poor young girl was about to take 5 years deferred. So
that's crazy.
I dismissed that shit, and thank God, and I hope she's out there treating people. But you got a job to do. You have a lot of power as a prosecutor, and you got to do the work. So that one stands out.
That's good on you, man, because it would have been easy just to prosecute it.
I could have been, oh well, this offer is here, and I'm overloaded. But something just didn't feel right on that one.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's an amazing story. And that's too bad that you don't know the follow-up on her, how she's doing now. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you're on TikTok. She might find you.
Yeah, she might. Hey, if you're out there, you see this, let me know how you're doing.
You ever have anybody prosecutor reach back out to you and thank you for anything? Or
I've had kind of both. I've had one where I was at the movie theater, and this woman runs up to me, and she's like, you're disgusting. I remember you. And I'm like, who are you? Tell me who you are. And she's like, you ruined my life. And she looks at my wife. She's like, how can you sleep with him? And I was like, well, she doesn't really.
If you must know.
Yeah, I mean, truth be told.
Your wife's going to watch this and you're going to get a chocolate thrown at you for that one.
This is the ex.
The ex. Okay.
Yeah. I finally figured out who she was. Her boyfriend had put a gun to her head. He was on probation. He put a gun to her head in front of her 2 kids and was charged with aggravated assault. And she didn't want to testify, but her girlfriend was there that night. So I got the girlfriend to come in and testify, and he got revoked and sent to prison. And I ruined her life.
Wow, imagine that.
And the flip side one was I had somebody run up to me when I was running for judge, and he comes out and he says, I just voted for you. You remember me? And I'm like, oh, well, it's never good when someone's you remember me. And he's like, yeah, no, I had these cases. I'm like, oh, you were the ones that I reduced from felonies to misdemeanors. And, who knew? Thank God I did, because then he could vote for me.
You got the vote, too.
This was years later that he voted for me.
You never had any instance where you were kind of scared for your like somebody wanted to harm you or anything?
It is a little scary sometimes. I think more often than not, they tend to blame the prosecutor. No, actually, they blame the defense attorney, really, not the prosecutor. Oh, really? Actually, but you know what, guys? I was just at my first debate here, and there was a young man who I was going after for capital murder. There were 2 individuals. The main shooter had already confessed and said, hey, I'll testify against this guy. And it was an identity issue, and I was very confident that I knew who this guy was. And I ended up leaving the office, and ultimately, Joe and the first chair, they dismissed the case. The shooter says, hey, I'm not going to testify anymore. I'm tired of sitting in Bexar County. Send me off. I still think they had a viable case. I still think I could have proven that case. But nonetheless, they dismissed it. And I was at this campaign event, and I'm going to the restroom, and the guy goes like, you remember me? And he turned out, I said, well, I would think you would hate me. He says, no, man, you were the most honest, the most straightforward, most professional prosecutor during that time that I was sitting in county jail. And his mom came up and said, I support you. Let me know whatever I can do to help you. So it's amazing, right?
That's a twist right there.
Yeah, it really was. God is good, man.
Yeah.
And I hope my plan is God's plan, but if it's not, his plan's better than mine.
Exactly.
So,
he wins all the time.
So there's a reason why this kid is out there now, and I hear he's doing fantastic.
That's awesome. That's a good story.
Yeah.
Oh my, we need to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, those are the stories we like to hear. Like, is there any programs you see that are in the community that are working or not working that are helping kids stay from going down that path or ending up in jail?
I'd like to see more of that, really. I was just talking with a guy that I work with. He's an amazing man. His name's Bobby Gill. I want to write his story. I want to put it on the movies. He was in Vietnam. He went to Vietnam when he was 17, just turned 18. He was supposed to be a file clerk, and then they said, hey, we need you to fill up the choppers with gas. And then they're like, oh, gosh, the gunners are getting killed. We need you to be a gunner. So he was a gunner in a helicopter.
That's crazy.
And he had the Playboy unit. So he ends up going to Nam, comes back to San Antonio, Bexar County, becomes the second tour in Vietnam, he says he goes and gets a helicopter pilot to take him to the city, and he buys heroin and cocaine and all this shit, and he starts selling it to the other soldiers. Gets out, comes back to San Antonio, and kind of becomes a bit of a drug king here, right? Selling pot and stuff. Gets 3 strikes, goes to prison, late 70s, was in prison for 20 plus years, and Obama pardoned him about 3 or 4 years, 5 years ago. He's now working at the defense firm, but he, so he's got, it's a war movie, it's a prison movie, it's a drug runner movie, but he is fully redeemed. And he just said, I'm going to hang on every day, Jason. And I woke up every day, and I was in that law library, and I told myself, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get out of here. He's the most motivating guy I've ever met. He is fully redeemed. He's got a great heart. And so I was talking to him today. I'm like, gosh, Bobby, if I win, I think you would be perfect to start talking to the youth out there.
That'd be cool.
And, let's do graffiti cleanup, which has gone away. Nobody uses that anymore. But let's get out there and let's get these kids that maybe have gotten in trouble, and let's not foreclose their future, but let's make them work it off.
Of course.
And so he would just be perfect for something like that. So I think that these opportunities, we need to do more of those.
Yeah.
We need to be able to kind of get these kids on the right path.
You know what I've always thought would be a good idea? Not that anybody cares, but you know what I mean? Is having the police more in the community, walking, maybe the sports, they're involved with the kids' sports and that, they build relationships, and it's not like an adversary relationship by the time the kid's a teenager, you know what I mean?
I think that's a great idea.
I don't know why they don't do more of those type of programs.
Oh, I don't know. And, and unfortunately, a lot of the youth are afraid of law enforcement. They are. And then look, there's been things that have been done by law enforcement that give them a right to be afraid. But I know, I know law enforcement. I know a lot of these guys, a lot of these women, their heart is in the right place. And I know they'd love to do something like that.
I think that would be an awesome thing for the community, for the kids, for the police, everything.
Yeah.
I wish more cities would do stuff like that.
Great. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think that I have a couple of friends that are in the police force currently. They're sheriffs, police officers, San Antonio, and they're great people.
Yeah.
You know, and just like anybody else, they have bad days. And
it's a tough job.
Yeah, well, of course. And, you know, day in, day out, and you see so many things, and you could just imagine what their life would be aside from their personal life, where they have to take off their police officer hat and wear their family hat, and then still go through and be a father, a husband, a provider. And then I had a conversation with a gentleman earlier, and we talked about how us as men, we're trained to be silent. We don't want to show weakness or feel like we're not enough, you know. And I think that when we get together as guys, that's the last thing you want to talk about, you know. But I think we should have more conversation, and that was kind of like the gist of what we would want to do is talking about mental health. You know, what men can do to further advance that conversation. You know, you have to show a type of vulnerability to your friends, you know, because if not, then who? Yeah. You know, and I've lost plenty of friends, you know, through suicide, and me being in that funk. It's real, man, and it's horrible. It's a bad feeling, and I'm thankful that I had him in my life. He made a big difference in it, and that's why we started this. Yeah. The bromance is alive.
The bromance.
But you know, you have to find some type of relatability to understand. You have to be vulnerable in order to understand.
You know, I think that's fantastic. And I've got a little sign on my door when I go out, and it says, "Look, I believe this is a test for all of us here, whether you believe in God or not. My personal opinion, this is a test, and nothing is more important than love." And it says, "Grow in your capacity to love," right? And try to love one another like you love yourself. And that's not easy, right? We all love ourselves a lot more than a lot of these other subjects out there. But that is, it's important to do that. I think that's the test for us. We grow in our wisdom every day that we can do that. And being able to say to your buddy, "Hey, I love you, man. I love you. And you are important to me," is huge. And I think we're getting better at that. And, you know, I certainly raised my kids that way. I had no issue expressing, you know, "Hey, I love you." And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, growing, like, for example, my dad being in a Hispanic culture, there was no really like, "Hey, you know,
good
closeness."
job.
Yeah, there was no, you know, attaboy, a good game. My dad would go to my football games like, "How many points are you going to lose by today?"
Oh, man.
You know, but he would do it to motivate us. And that was just a weird motivation to say. But my friends are like, "Dude, your dad bet against us? Let's show him wrong." So my dad would have a big old pizza party, whatever party afterwards. Yeah. He's like, "I knew y'all had it in you." But that was our motivation.
Reverse psychology, bro.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we didn't know it, you know. And my dad was a tremendous soccer player. I had no idea. And when he busted out his trophies and his pictures, he actually played in a charity game with Pelé.
No way.
Yeah. My dad was a badass little striker. He was a little Maradona before Maradona.
His little legs were running all over the place.
All you saw was cleats. Cleats and socks. But yeah, and unfortunately he got hurt, so he stopped playing. But he would get around a lot of, back then in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, a lot of regional Mexican bands would come into town and play. Yeah. And they had soccer teams, so my dad would be a part of that. And they would go play and you take pictures and everything. A hell of a pool player. I could never, ever, even to this day, I think I can beat him in pool. But he wasn't as close as other dads, you know? So and I think that in the Mexican culture, it's like that. It might be different with other cultures, but there's a stern talking to and an ass beating. That's guaranteed 100%.
I got the belt. That's for sure.
Oh, I think dads need to bring the belt back out. That's a big problem right now.
I think we may have gone too far to the other way in some instances. Oh, it's okay, you're fine, and no, rub some dirt on it and get up.
Bring that belt out because these kids need it, man. These kids, this generation's a little different. They're growing up different.
I think the problem is, and I discussed this with my fiance, that there's no more grandmothers. There's no more elders. the grandmas are 40 something and they're partying with the grandkids, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, I think it's the family unit is separated now. We don't all live together, grow up with our cousins like we used to. You know what I mean?
Well, because
Everybody
the elders are the ones that gathered everyone. But I mean, if you really think about it, couples now, they both got to work.
Yeah.
There's no more homemaking unless you're making a shit ton of money.
It's true.
And you're lucky to have that. That's a blessing. But I think that nurturing is gone. And I think kids are like, man, I'm fending for myself. What do I need you for? Now you want to be my parent, you know, kind of that resentment.
I think you're right. And you know, for those parents that aren't paying attention, look, I see these kids killing one another.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many cases I had as a prosecutor, 14-year-old, 15-year-old, they all want to show up for a fake drug deal and who gets their gun out first. And it's tragic. And then I would go and look onto their social profiles, and you would see these kids with guns and cash and grills, and they would be playing all hard. And I'm like, where are the parents? Where are the parents? You know, they're contributing to the delinquency of a minor by omission. So wake up, parents. If I figure out that you had knowledge, this kid was playing with guns, had guns, access to guns, and you just stood by and you knew that there was a real risk of somebody coming to harm, that to me, some of these times it's criminal. It's criminal. And Texas isn't quite as onerous as some of these other states where they make it a lot easier to go after the parents when you get these school shootings and stuff like that. But they need to, they need to pay attention to their kids and what's going on the social media.
And sometimes parents they just rather not hear it.
Well, it's easy not to, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
It's easy not to.
I mean, it's funny because we'll go out to eat with my dad and my sister, and we'll be looking at other tables, just people watching.
And the kids are just with tablets. The parents are with their phones. Nobody's talking.
Nobody talks anymore. I remember growing up, we had a big household. It was 6 of us. My mom and dad, that's 8. My grandmother, 9. My older aunt, 10.
Nice.
So our social media was Sunday's dinner, and that's where we set the schedule for the whole week.
That's where all the entertainment was.
And if you weren't ready Friday, you weren't going. And if you're like, no one told me, well, you weren't at the table. And if you missed out on that, you were skinny because you didn't eat. 2, you weren't going because you weren't ready.
You were always at the table.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, you see, it's funny because...
I like that one.
My bad, man.
You're a guest. You're not. So. Remember.
Hey, bro, he dropped a good one, bro.
I have a mental tracker. No, but
I'm sure you'll get me back.
No, I will.
You will.
But you make a good point. I actually was healthy. I've gotten bigger as I've gotten older. But younger, all of us, our household, there was always food.
Yeah. My
grandmother made more than enough because it's a saying in our house, it's better to have leftover than to run out and not feed someone coming in. And there was always people stopping by. I ran into a old football coach 30 years later. Your grandmother makes the best carne asada ever. God rest her soul.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, and I was like, damn, you remember that shit?
That's cool.
I was like, but it's stuff like that type of culture that's missing.
Yeah, there's not as much community as there is in our community.
At all. I mean, now you have all these streaming channels and cable and the internet and your phone, and you're more accessible to stuff to distract you.
But how do we get it back, though, dude? Like, what's
I don't think we ever will.
You know, I'm seeing some places, was it Australia or somewhere? This is no social media access for kids under a certain age.
Oh, yeah, I just saw that, yeah.
They just, shut it down.
It's hard, though, too, because there's so much opportunity for the kids on the phone, too, to make money and work. True. And it's a catch-22. So
there's some kids that are just banking.
There's kids making millions of dollars, 12 years old. You know what I mean?
Little 8-year-old that builds stuff with Legos. Yeah. He's a millionaire. I'm like,
there's kids that are trading stocks, and they're 15, 14 years old.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the social platforms, they do have a lot of good value out of there too. And, even TikTok, where you got people that have daily motivation, daily prayers or something that you can maybe see that and go, I needed that today, So there's the bad, there is the good. It's not going to go away.
Yeah.
But I agree, the attention span is like that. It's like that.
But it's also the parents, like you said, they got to get involved. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you not watching what your kids are watching? You're not involved. You don't know what's going on in school. So it's the parents. At the end of the day, it is the parents.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just real difficult because if the parents or young parents, let's just say, for example, you're a teenager, you miss out on your teenage years. So you want to rebel, you want to have fun. So your kids are a little grown to where they can take care of themselves. So you hang out on the porch and you're at home, but you're hanging out with your friends and smoking and drinking, and the kids are exposed to that. Then it comes to where the kid's older, the kid's part of that. And it's just a vicious cycle. Like, well, mom got pregnant at 14, I can do it too.
Yeah, and I think statistic bears that out. You know, when you have young mother after young mother after young mother. I don't know.
So you said you prosecuted some of these kids, and you go back and you see them, the guns and everything, grills, all that. Like, it's a mistake they made as a kid. Is there anything like that you programmed them so they could redeem themselves? Because we all make stupid mistakes when we're kids. I know it's a horrible mistake, but
I think we're kids, at least guys, for the most. Well, most women would say we're all kids. We never grow up, but 25 maybe is when you start kind of thinking,
if that
25.
Yeah.
So 17, you can start being charged as an adult. I think part of the discretion thing is, yeah, I don't want to foreclose somebody's future. If you make a mistake, look, when I first started as a prosecutor, I would read a file and be like, oh shit, that's a crime. I didn't know that was a crime.
Yeah.
Throwing eggs at the school, that's a crime.
Yeah.
Or throwing eggs at your buddies. So I think, yeah, you gotta have the ability to do what, pretrial diversion or something, like go do community service hours, go take this class, and I'll dismiss this case, scare the shit out of them, while you're at it.
Well, I'm even talking about these kids that commit murder. I mean, that's not a mistake.
That's a tough one, man.
It's a tough one, but they're 15. I mean,
well, the juvenile system has the ability to say, okay, we're going to put you on supervision, and for instances for murder, and say we're going to watch you, and then when you reach that age of adulthood, there's a determination as to whether or not to place you on adult supervision as an adult. So along the way, I guess there is an opportunity for the kid to say, okay, this was it's a mistake, but not a mistake, right?
Yeah, bad choices. Really bad choices.
Yeah. So I think that is going to follow them forever. That's not something that can go away. But a lot of these people have the opportunity to redeem themselves, and they should.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some tough cases out there. I'm defending some cases like that.
I mean, I could only imagine, the restraint it takes to, power through something like that, where you're like, man, I know this kid is a really good kid.
Yeah.
He deserves a second chance or whatever. But at the same time, you think about the victim. So it's kind of like, I mean, I think that'd be a stressiness.
It's true. A lot of victims will say, when I was a prosecutor and I thought deferred adjudication was the right result, which means they didn't have a felony conviction. They were still under your thumb. If they screwed it up, then the judge had the ability to revoke them and assess the maximum range of punishment. And going through supervision, whether it's deferred or probation, that ain't easy. And, a lot of people say, well, that's nothing. Well, they got away with it. Well, no, not really. And that's part of why you have to have a prosecutor, a DA that has a backbone, because you're not going to make all the victims happy. And the reality is you really don't represent the victims. I always wanted a good result for them, but you represent the citizens of Texas, of Bexar County, and what is the right outcome for that. Somebody punches me in the nose, I can go sue them in a civil court. I can also be the victim in an assault case, but I don't control that. It's the prosecutor that controls that. And sometimes you need to say, look, yes, this happened, but this isn't going to happen again. I don't think this person's going to be a danger in the future. I don't want to foreclose their future. This person could be a good, productive citizen, and they may not be happy, and you have to stand by that and be willing to say that and say it to their face and say, this is why I did what I did, and I don't care what the media says about it. This is not a job I'm running for because I want to run for something else in the future. It's a thankless job, and I get it. I mean, look, it's difficult. And I'm not here to say I want to run another 4 years after that. I'm here just because I'm so saddened by the state of the justice system in Bexar County and the DA's office. And I want to make it fun for these prosecutors again. It's difficult. It's hard. It's not always.
How do you make it fun though?
I mean, there was a time when I was a misdemeanor prosecutor, and we would come back from court, and we would all roll down the same hallways, and it was kind of like, hey, what happened in this class, or what did Mrs. Johnson do here today, or this judge or that judge, and there was a camaraderie there. Now they're kind of all in their pods just by the nature of the building and the remodeling, and I want to knock those walls down. I want to make it like that college dormitory.
Yeah,
again.
I think if you bring back that type of culture, it'll change the culture.
Yeah, and educate them, right? I was in trial, a defense attorney, and the prosecutor asked the witness, "Hey, are you on this video?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I offer states one into evidence." And the judge was like, "I'll allow it." I'm like, "What the hell? What the hell?" They don't even have the predicate manual, which is the questions you're supposed to ask to get a particular piece of evidence in. So they need training again. And then once they have that training, they need the discretion to use it. And they want to have fun. I had fun as a prosecutor. It sucked. Part of it sucked. but I had fun, and you want to give them the stress breaks when they need it too.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's also a big major factor is that it's just the stress level is like at 1,000.
It is.
And it's everywhere. I mean, and it's like yesterday I was in the coastal bend. I was in one of my stores in Corpus, and the manager is Wednesdays they change ad prices. So he's doing his ad changes, and I see a product that we represent, and I'm like, why is there so much and it's reduced? And I'm like, what's wrong with this cheese? He goes, oh man, take it all, sir, take it all. He thought I was a customer. So I went around, I'm like, yeah, I'm not a customer. He looks at me, he goes, oh shit, you're a vendor. Never mind. I'm like, well, good morning to you too, Buttercup.
Yeah.
He goes, no, I didn't mean it. I go, no, you did.
Yeah.
And you said it. So you meant it. Now you own it.
Yeah.
He goes, man, I'm busy. I go, I can walk and talk. I can do two things at one time. So I'll join you. So I walked with them and everything. We ended up knowing the same people at different times that in our careers at HEB. So that conversation is like, man, you ever need anything, let me know. Here's my card. I gave him my card. So it's funny because people are just under pressure, and especially like in retail, any type of customer service job, it's results. What have you done? What can you do for me? How fast can you do it for me? How fast can you get out of here? Instead of like, man, how's everything going? When I worked and I oversaw people, my first thing was, good morning. How are you? Is there anything I can do for you? What's missing? What do we need? You know, and you have that conversation instead of just come in and blasting people like, man, this thing looks like shit, and man, you got to pick that up, and what the hell are y'all doing? What did I hire y'all for? That doesn't get anything done.
Yeah.
If anything, they'll just like, fuck you, see how we'll do it then.
You just take a little bit of your time to actually get to know that person, and it goes so much further for you. You get better results across the board. You know?
I mean, even asking, I'm a big proponent of saying, hey man, do you mind doing that for me?
Yeah.
And if you would, please, thank you.
Ask.
Yes, never ever tell someone. I was told one time, and it happened one time. It was a director of the region in Eagle Pass. I had heard about the man. I never met him. So he's like, hey, you, pick that up. I'm looking around like, who are you talking to? He goes, I'm you, pick it up. I'm like, sir, I know who you are, but I don't really care. This is my store. You don't talk to me like that. My daddy don't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
So the funny part was his underling, which was my boss, was like, hey, let's go have a cigarette outside. So he goes, you know who that was? And I'm like, some asshole. He goes, well, that ass was our boss.
Oh,
so I need to go back there and apologize. I'm like, I'll be damned if I apologize. You can get rid of me today.
Yeah. No.
He goes, okay, I'll go apologize. I go, that's a better answer.
There we go.
I go, but I won't let him talk to me like that. After that, he's like, hey, let's go have some beers. I'm like, I'm good, sir. I don't drink with you. But yeah, I mean, I think we all need to have that sense of humility and ask. People forget to ask all the time. And my main thing is when I'm talking to someone, they don't look at you. I'm like, hey, I'm over here. You know, just at least acknowledge that I'm here.
He's just trying to do his pinche job, bro.
Yeah, I feel like Santana. Hey, look at me when I talk to you. But I mean, obviously, I'm a big guy. I don't know if you've noticed. But I'll get in front of people and I'll talk to them. And then they'll realize, like, oh, shit, he's taking his time to talk to me. Let me see what he has.
Yeah.
It's respect, bro. It's respect.
Exactly. You know, and same thing for them. If they ask me something, if I don't understand or I didn't hear it right, I'll go back and say, can you repeat what you just asked me? Because I couldn't understand with all that commotion. Oh, sure. Can you do this? Perfect. Got you.
Yeah, I think ego too plays into it, where we all, you know, ego gets ahead of yourself, and sound like from a movie, but the Dalai Lama once said, right, that, you know, most anger comes from an overinflated sense of self. That is, how could you do that to me? How could you talk to me that way? But if we just kind of remove that a little bit and give a little bit of grace, a little bit of space, man, you get so much more out of life by taking those moments, removing your ego. And look, that's what gets me off, and that's gets me going and talking about people, is the ego that takes place in power positions. So you combine power and ego, look out.
Ego's nothing but trouble. That's most of these kids getting in trouble is ego.
Right. Yeah.
It's all coming from a place of ego. You know what I mean?
You can't honk at anybody anymore.
Nah, but I do have a question that's really important to me.
Yeah.
As a DA. So COVID, I don't know where you stood when COVID was going on, but I moved here because of COVID, because I was in California and it was crazy. We had our businesses and they were prosecuting businesses that were trying to stay open and feed their families. So say something like that happened again, where would you stand on that?
Oh, I think they went way too far.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I think they went way too far. I don't think they had the scientific basis to say that this is going to stop anything. And I think we knew that. We were all walking around with masks and like, well, you can take your mask off to eat and put the food in your mouth, but then put it back. Like, come on.
It was a dog and pony show, all for nothing.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So they shut down our business for 18 months. We had a business similar to this over there. 18 months I had to shut down, and if you got caught open, you would get prosecuted. You would get charges and.
Look, it starts with law enforcement, right? And you've got law enforcement that have to make those charges, make those arrests, and then they send it over to the DA. And if it's a felony, the DA has to make the decision, do I take this to a grand jury? And is there enough votes to indict this? And look, it's true. You want to indict a ham sandwich, you can be like, that is the worst freaking ham sandwich. So it's easy to indict, really. But yeah, law enforcement, if they're bringing stuff like that, then the DA has to make a real decision, right? Is this something that I enforce or not enforce? And, as a chief law enforcement officer, is there discretion there? Absolutely, there's discretion there. So, I think a lot of the cite and release, I don't want to be too off topic, but cite and release where, okay, you got caught with a joint here and we're going to just write you a ticket and maybe you appear in court, or if you don't get in trouble again, that's going to go away. I think those are some really good options. But that was just stupid on the front end to come after businesses, to come after good people that are contributing to society. Look, that kind of stupid shit comes across my desk. I don't think you have to worry.
All right. Well, that's awesome because that was a big thing for us. I mean, that was hard to deal with. We have to feed our kids, put a roof overhead, and we can't operate because, what I mean? Because these stupid regulations and laws that they had.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were enforcing them was mind-blowing.
Well, yeah, I know. You want a prosecutor, you want a DA that is reasonable, and you want a DA that's got a sense of humor, right?
Yeah. I think that's important.
Because it's that sense of humor sometimes that takes the heat level down, that makes us all kind of come back to the center again and say, all right, let me look at this again, right? So I think that just shows a broader DA that can say, look, sometimes, but for the grace of God, there go I. So what is a better alternative here? And what is chicken shit?
And I think a lot of it was the machine. You speak of, a lot of it was the machine working, you know what I mean?
And look, on that point too, the DA has chiefs, right? You got a trial chief, you got a juvenile chief, you've got a family violence chief. You need a DA that's going to have chiefs that not only have the experience, but are willing to be like, are you stupid?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Call you out.
Call you out. Why are you doing that? I called out a fellow prosecutor, and I was in Joe's office and saying, you should be fired for this. And trust me, I had the basis to say she should be fired. And the chiefs were all sitting there like this.
Everybody agreed.
But nobody stood up. Nobody said anything. And, his response was, well, I agree, but what if she sues me? Right? And the head of the DA's office was, what if she sues me? That's why I called him the name on TikTok, right? That's why I called him that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, I guess that's what they mean by silent majority.
Yeah. Boy, were they silent.
You
said like
something,
chickens.
you said something in that discretion about finding somebody with a joint of weed and stuff.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on the weed issue?
Look, man. Remember I said, hey, what band would you go see? Okay, I got another one for you. If you could only choose alcohol or pot, which would you choose? Ooh. And I would say, man, if the society could only have one or the other, let them smoke pot all day long, right? We're going to have less violence, less murders, a lot less Cheetos.
A lot less cirrhosis.
Yeah. But, the reality is that we've had hemp come through, and I think it's a personal choice. I think if we're going to let people drink alcohol, don't get in your car and drive. Don't get high and get in there and drive. But if we are intelligent enough to say, okay, I can stay at home and have a beer, or I can have one out at dinner or two and not be intoxicated, I think the same thing goes with pot. And I think we're getting there. I think Trump assigned it and de-escalated the schedule. It was Schedule 1, which means there's no redeeming qualities from this, which is just stupid. That's absolutely stupid when it comes to treating different diseases. When you've got somebody that's on chemo that can't eat, and it gives them an appetite back again. So, I think the cite and release is a good thing. If you don't like it, if you don't like that position, well, don't vote for me. All right.
Say a case comes across your department, and it's minor like that. How hard are you going to go at it?
Well, I think, look, what's going on right now is you could be rolling around with ounces of flour, and you're going to be in a misdemeanor court. You got a vape pen that's got less than a gram in it. That's a state jail felony.
Is it really?
Shit.
I didn't even know that.
State jail felony. I've had friends. I'm like, bro, don't be rolling around with that thing in your car.
That's crazy.
And so the legislature screwed that one up. We can't trust them to be thinking smart about things. So I think if you're dealing, that's a different question, right? That's a different scenario. If you're rolling around with cash and you got 100 vape pens and you're selling kind of stuff, that's a different scenario.
Yeah.
But you know, I think we've gone too far. I think it's overboard. I don't think anybody, these kids or even young adults or whoever that's got a vape pen is looking at a felony. I'm all about pretrial diversion. You haven't been in trouble before, then let's dismiss this charge. Let's get you an opportunity to not get in trouble again. Maybe do some community service hours, and we won't refile this case. You know, I think Joe has done some of that, and I've gotten some of those from my clients, and I appreciate that. But I think we need to expand this pretrial diversion. Yeah. And it's still enforcing the law, right? You still have somebody under your thumb, and it's still a way to get some retribution or some meat off that bone. But I think that's a better way of approaching it.
Sounds like a good way to get that graffiti program going.
Oh man, I want to bring that back. Yeah. I also want to bring back courts in school, talking about the kids again. Used to, as a prosecutor, I used to attend courts in school, and you would literally have a judge there, a bailiff, the prosecutors, defense attorneys, and these were real cases, and you would go up and enter the plea, and the judge would assess punishment, and I think that was a great tool.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, it hasn't been around in a while, but I thought that was really cool. And look, kids are like, hey, I don't have to go to class, but you know, it's a way to show them that the justice system is real, man. Yeah. It's real, and you know, it is more real for misdemeanors, and that's really when people should pay attention to. Yeah, you want to vote for president and governor, absolutely, but the local judge, the local DA, the local has more ability to affect your life than any of these other higher level people. So that's another good program I want to get back on.
Yeah, that'd be an awesome. I think that'd be pretty interesting. You probably spark a lot of kids to want to be attorneys or prosecutors. Judges. Sure. I could see kids really getting into that and like sparking something in them.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why it went away.
Is there anything you could do as a DA and do that?
Yeah, for sure. You know, commissioner's court, they control the purse strings, right? So you have to get funding somewhere. But if you can't get it from commissioner's court, I am sure there are businesses out there that can say, hey, I want to contribute to this. It's a great cause. They could help fund it. It's not all that expensive. And I think it's a very viable thing to do.
How open do you think the schools would be to it, the school district?
Oh, I think they would be open to it. This was, maybe 18 years ago when I was doing this. It's been gone for a long time, but I think they'd be very open to it.
That sounds like a pretty cool program. I'd like to see it.
I'm not sure, and I think boot camp is still in existence, but I don't know that it's been used very much. When you've got kids that have really kind of screwed up, and they're just not getting it, then you can have an ability to assess boot camp even in these misdemeanor cases.
Where, wow.
Yeah, where it's
the state pays for it, or do the parents have to pay for it?
No, I don't think the parents have to pay for it. I think it's funded through the state, through the county, just some matching dollars. If I think that's the way it's done.
That sounds like a good program too.
Yeah, that's
anything to keep these kids from following that path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was one of those kids, so I know where that path leads, and I would like to see more kids get diverted from that path.
Yeah, and when you do get in trouble, where were all your friends? Do they show up? No, man. It's rarely that they show up.
Yeah.
They don't put money on your commissary. They don't come into court to defend you.
It's not all MTV and movie. It's real.
It's real.
How many of those cases that you see they break down and snitch on their friends?
Not often.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's when you do say, hey, look, I might be able to help you if you can tell me who this other kid was. They're like, well, I don't really know their name. You're like, come on, you know their name. Well, I only know the street name.
You see that show, the first 48, man, it seems like they all break.
Yeah. I haven't had a lot of situations where it's super serious, where they are out there looking for somebody else and trying to get somebody else. But yeah, I haven't had too many of those.
Okay. Yeah. I think that, speaking of the programs, I think that there needs to be a kind of revival on it. I think that's missing.
Yeah.
I really hope the school districts do pay attention to that, because I think not only will it draw interest to the students, but the parents.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the parents might have active cases. They're like, I want to learn shit too,
I mean, and look, I want to expand it for the adults too, for those other individuals, like I said, the possession of a vape pen, right? If you're not driving while intoxicated.
Yeah, you're not hurting anybody.
You're not, okay, it's a technical violation, but there's other stuff that should be out there available. People make mistakes, and they redeem from it.
Most definitely. I was going to ask, as far as like the voting, and I know you had a meet and greet last weekend, I believe.
Yeah, I did.
How did that turn out?
I wasn't too bad. You know, it's like throwing a birthday party and you're like, who's going to show up?
You're like, I don't care about the gifts. I just want to know someone's
I
here.
just want people to show up. I want people to like me. I had about 25, 30 people there. About 30 plus campaign signs went out the door. So not bad. It was kind of far out edge of Bexar County, which is where I live, and the owners of the bar, The Roost. It's a Fair Oaks Roost. It's a great place. Y'all should check it out. They were hosting it for me. So I'm going to do some more stuff that's centrally located. And you look, anybody wants me to come, homeowners association, whatever it is, I'm there. I'll be there.
Nice.
Just hit me up. Call the Wolf on TikTok. Wolf is spelled with 2 F's.
You'll see the vehicle. I love the branding on it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, your TikToks are pretty cool, man. They're funny, bro. They're entertaining. You show a lot of personality. I think they're badass.
Thanks. You know, I have joke Tourette's, and there are times when it comes to my TikTok, I'm like, you shouldn't post this. I'm like, post it.
That's when you know you got to post it, when you know you should.
right.
When they're second down, it's funny because we'll talk about that stuff, and he was like, "Hey, what do you think?" And I'm like, "Hey, man, either they're gonna like it or they're not."
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, you just gotta roll with it.
Yeah.
You know, there's always gonna be critics.
Sure.
Always, it doesn't matter. You're gonna get good, the bad, the ugly.
Well, the things I worry about when we do that is painting the guest in the wrong light that they don't want to be painted in. You know what I mean? If it's us, I don't give a shit. I'll post whatever.
Yeah.
But when a guest comes on and I have to make a reel, and it paints him in a certain, because you kind of have to catch people's attention, so you got to find the spicy stuff in it.
Yeah, sure.
But it could also paint them in the wrong light that they might not like. You know what I mean?
You know, I think that's true, but I just kind of like, hey, man, it came out of my mouth, and I'll defend it. And if I can't defend it, I'll apologize for it and say that was a stupid thing to say. And, you know, sometimes, look, I always thought jokes were going to get me in trouble.
But I mean,
that's how I am.
They got you on the podcast, man.
Well, there you go. There you go.
But, you know, I think people relate to that. Like,
Yeah.
love you or hate you, some of the songs that you come up with are fucking genius.
Thanks,
and
man.
and it's catchy. You're like, you can't. I'm fucking driving to work and I'm singing the Ice one.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking
Look,
funny.
You know, look, and I've caught some hell for that one. That's why Shannon Locke says you're discussing. He was trying to portray me as okay with the loss of life that's occurred, and that wasn't my point, man. My point is, I've told you guys, I'm pro law enforcement, but you know, the way you enforce it, let's talk about that. We can definitely have that conversation. But the whole point of that was, if you commit a crime, and it's not necessarily immigration related, but if you commit a crime, don't be surprised if somebody comes and wakes you up. And it was a statement, it's against everybody being woke.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm tired of the woke shit that's going on.
I'm with you in that, man.
So that was the meaning in those things.
And I think that was just the icing on the cake, how you got to that point. And the people that they just passed them, they're past it. They're part of the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
And I was telling them, I was like, man, I was singing the fucking song driving to work.
That's good.
And I just
love
thought
it.
like that.
I love
It's just funny, but I think people, the relatability on laughing at yourself and at the subject, while at the same time trying to make us convey a message, is what makes you that relatable.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. That's what I'm trying to do. I want to be open, transparent, and look, you can find out who I am by watching those TikToks, right? I go by the senior citizen home, and I'm like, hey, ladies, I got someone out there that's probably going to come back around again. Like, look at this guy. He's talking about hitting on old ladies.
Yeah, they're gonna find something.
Well, we've had some people that are kind of lean a certain way, and they don't care for you.
Yeah.
But they actually say you make good videos. You know what I mean? Which is a compliment at the same time.
Well,
It's a
that's cool. We'll
backhanded
take it.
compliment.
But it's a compliment.
It's still a compliment.
You're catching
Well, I'll take it.
attention.
Well,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
that's cool. And look, again, if my plan isn't God's plan and this doesn't result in me being the district attorney, I know that there is going to be good that's going to come from this somehow, some way. And if that's just educating people to pay attention to the people that you shouldn't be voting for, the people that are in power that are abusing that power, then I'm all for it.
Nice. If you don't win, or if you do win, do you plan on continuing doing the TikToks?
Yeah, I do.
Even in office? I think you should, man.
Yeah, no, I absolutely will. I absolutely will, and I'll keep doing them. And people will be like, "Fuck, why did I vote for this guy?"
No, I think it shines a spotlight on stuff we don't normally see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think people need to see that. I think this breakdown is because they don't really see what's going on, and then the media gets just part of the information. And whether they put all of it out there or they spin it, it leads to, people don't trust the DA's office anymore. They don't trust law enforcement. So just showing them what you did, why you did, as long as it's not putting anybody else in jeopardy and you're not sharing disclosed, private information. I'm all for that, man.
Yeah.
I want to keep doing it.
I hope you do, whether you win or not.
Yeah.
I'd like to see you continue.
Gonna win.
Doing.
Come on, people.
Oh, we gotta be speak it into existence.
That's
Speak it
right.
into
Exactly
existence.
right. Exactly
And of course, if and when you do win, you'll come back
oh, for sure.
because we'd love to have you back.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
and
sure.
anything that we can do on our end, to help out, maybe attend one of your meet and greets. We'd love to be out there.
Cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'll let you know on the next one for sure.
Yes, for sure. I mean, what?
Oh, I was saying before. No, go ahead, bro. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Thank you.
My bad. Go.
We have that bond, but I guess in closing, I really think that you're kind of like a cult of personality. Like you're the jolt that we're needing. You're the jolt that San Antonio needs.
Not
Bear
the,
County.
I would say the jokester, not the joke, bro.
Well, yeah,
The joke doesn't sound too good.
yeah,
I get where you're coming from.
yeah. But I mean, what I'm saying is like I think you're that shock.
Yeah.
I don't want to say shock jock. I don't know. That's too Howard Stern.
Just the personality that we need.
It's a personality, and it's against everything else, the norm.
Well, I get some people that say, "Hey, man, I watch your thing over and over again because it really picks me up, makes me laugh." I've had other individuals that say, I'm 65 years old. I've never voted, but I'm going to get up and I'm going to go vote for you." So it's having an effect out there, and I'm just going to keep being who I am and keep hitting posts when I'm nervous about it.
Yeah.
Just hit it. Just hit
No,
it.
we kind of live on the no regrets.
No regrets. We hit it.
I'm not gonna get it on my neck like a movie, but
No regrets.
No regrets.
Some of the videos we put out there, I watch it later. I'm like, I don't know if that was the best thing, but it's
Yeah.
out there. You know what I mean?
It's out there.
Before we wrap it up, though, I do have to ask you the Epstein files.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you about this. You're on the DA side and all that. What do you think is going on with the whole thing?
Well, I mean, I think you should put it out there. I think you should let him go a long time ago. Sort of putting any of these victims in danger, right? We don't want to make them relive something that they don't have to. I don't know that I know enough about it to figure out who should be charged, who shouldn't be charged. You hear the thing on Microsoft founder, and like, is that true or not true? Or I don't know.
That's the thing with them. I think they've been how too long people put stuff in. They've been weaponized from both sides too much. I think the water's too muddy right now.
Yeah, but it's pretty scary to think how far in deep they do go, because they definitely reach into places of power that we should all be alarmed about.
Oh yeah, and see, that's the thing. I would love these sick bastards. I would love to see them get justice, get what they deserve.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're talking whole economies. Some of these people run economies, so the consequences of prosecuting them. I mean,
well, shit. I mean, you do it. Look out, right? What the ultimate outcome is. But if you've committed these kind of crimes, then you need to account for them. I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to blow dart in the neck, Right?
Yeah, it was nice knowing you.
You're not suicidal, right?
We are in the West Side, so anything goes.
Nah, it's just that's the topic. That's the big topic one right now.
It is.
I'm just curious on your perspective on it.
I think it's good cheese, man. It's good legal cheese, man, for sure.
I think I'm sorry. I'm just overwhelmed by all the redactions.
Yeah.
Unnecessary or necessary, regardless.
I don't know. I think it's deep.
I agree with what you're saying, but first and foremost, they were given a timestamp, and they said, "Hey, we need extra time."
Yeah.
And then they say we couldn't do it.
But
what we have is what you got, and you might get it later, or you might not.
I think they should let you redact it, man.
Oh shit! I wouldn't redact anything.
I wouldn't want to.
I'd be the RE redact.
Maybe the people should vote for who can be the redacting.
Could you
entity,
imagine?
Right?
I mean, it's funny because someone said, "Fuck it, let it all burn down."
Yeah, but then we have we have families to feed, bro. The economy drops, everything. That's my concern.
Well, of course, because I mean, it's a global thing. It's not just Helotes.
No, there's big consequences.
It's bigger than no harm for Helotes. We love Helotes.
But think about it from this perspective. Say all the previous administrations and this one, they have this information on powerful people that they could use to their advantage. Would you give that up if you were the president? Would you give up that dirt that you could bend people to do certain stuff for you?
I'm gonna end it with this. They still haven't told us about Area 51.
Oh, bro, Area 51, isn't it?
Am I right?
I think we've finally realized there are aliens out there,
Oh, yeah.
man.
You believe in aliens?
Man, have you been on TikTok? There's this one guy that's just got his telescope that's out there, and it's amazing the number of traffic you see out there. And people are like, "Is that an alien?" He's like, "I'm not saying it is, but
No,
what do
not
you
saying
think?"
it's not.
it
Are
is?"
they aliens or are they interdimensional beings?
Whoa.
Oh,
Yes.
That's another matter.
We took a break and sparked it up.
That's a whole other episode.
Whoa.
Hey, but you know what? We'll get a sponsor if we do that.
oh yeah.
With all these vape shops, shit, like,
There you go.
you're bound to find
That's what
someone.
I don't get. How weed's illegal here, but there's so much weed here.
It's
I don't-
crazy. You know,
yeah.
the hemp law means like now, you used to be able to have an officer that could take the stand and says, we did a controlled burn. I know what it smells like. And that was the scientific evidence. And that's all the jury needed. When they said hemp is less than 0.03% THC, well, then that means everything has to be tested to prove what it is. And the vape shops, they are selling hemp. However, I don't know how they do this shit, but when you spark it, that releases the THC and that's what gets you high. So it's legal when you're buying it, but you know.
Sounds like big loopholes. That's what it sounds like to me.
I mean,
Bunch of
it's
loopholes.
smart.
Yeah.
And a lot of places, they don't actually have it on site. You have to mail order it.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
I know because I walked in them now because I'm
I don't
curious.
smoke, so I don't know.
I've got clients that worked at a shop and left with their own product that was legally purchased and are still and are going through the justice system right now.
Oh no way.
Yeah, yeah.
They almost were getting close to passing laws to close them down, right? It seemed like
Yeah, I think didn't
Abbott, he
Patrick
vetoed it,
or
right?
Once said it should be
Yeah,
illegal.
Dan
and-
Patrick was
and-
going bananas.
and the governor's like, "Nah, man, no."
I like being in my little easy bake oven. I get the munchies. But on that note, where can everyone find you?
So I've got my own website that I created. It's www.tiredofthiscrap.com.
Nice.
Did you
And then-
design and everything?
I did it.
So
I
it's
did
all
it
you.
It's all me.
All right.
It's all me, you know. And then I have, TikTok, Call the Wolf. I promise you, you'll be entertained. You may not vote for me, but hopefully you will, because you see that I'm as real as it gets. 10 years as a prosecutor, 8 years as a judge, 4 years as a defense attorney, over 250 jury trials. I can hit the ground running when it comes to being DA. I've got the respect of the judges, the respect of the prosecutors that are there. I will bring prosecutors back. I'll repair the relationship with law enforcement. Going to get back to basic justice. If these sons of bitches deserve to go to prison, then that's where they're going to go. If they deserve a second chance or some retribution or a new time at life, then I'm going to consider that as well. So I can do the job, guys.
Nice.
Nice.
Appreciate you coming out. And I just forewarning, if you do get elected, he's gonna take the credit for you getting elected. just forewarning, it will happen.
I was telling him, I was like, we reached out to him. He's like, all right, James. And then it turned from James to Steve. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't give a shit what he called me as long as he shows up.
Well, my next communications director.
Oh, believe me, I'm good at that. Ask him. I'm the kissing the baby part.
Oh, he'll talk to the wall, dude. He'll talk to the wall. If nobody's in the room, the wall's getting the wall's getting romanced.
And the wall's like, please start peeling.
Take him away, please.
Nah, but we really appreciate you coming on, and we wish you best of luck on your campaign.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, man.
It was
I appreciate
awesome.
it. Yeah, good to be here.
We're good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
All right,
that
bye,
being
guys.
said, y'all have a good week. Later.
Peace.
Get out and vote.
Yeah.